All right, hey guys. So real quick, I'm going to go over energy systems used during exercise. What we're really talking about this week is strictly going to be ATP. So I'm going to make this very quick, but very simple at the same time. So of course, what is ATP? So the technical term for it is adenosine triphosphate. Now, I do not expect you to remember that for any quiz purposes or anything like that. May pop up as a bonus question on the quiz, so just make note of that just in case. But the main thing that you're going to really be focusing on is the ATP part of it. But that is the technical term for it. And I'm gonna go ahead and pull up everything up on here so you can see it. So basically what ATP is, it is quick burst energy. It is the energy that you use for quick burst type movements. So of course this has to do with physical activity. So when I say quick burst movements, I mean things that happen really, really fast, movements lasting only about 6 seconds. Now, with this being quick burst, it is small storage. So it is stored in your muscles. That's the main. That's where you're going to find your ATP energy stored at. But it's a very limited storage size, and it cannot be increased, but only enhanced. So this is the ATP part of it, which is going to be a two-parter. But I'll get to the second part in a minute. It is only a limited amount of storage space, only lasts about 6 seconds, and is only for quick burst type movements. Now, when I say quick burst, I mean something as such as weightlifting. As you see here, the gentleman right here is performing a weightlifting movement. Now this movement doesn't take any longer than 6 seconds to perform. So everything that he is using in terms of an energy source is just ATP energy. You may also notice that it looks like he's actually holding his breath while he's doing this. Now, the interesting thing about ATP energy is, say, for example, you were going to run across Bach Green and time yourself and see what kind of time you would get. You could actually run across Bach Green, time yourself one time, come back and recover, and then hold your breath, and then go back and run the same exact time or fairly close to the same exact time while holding your breath across Bach Green. That's because ATP energy source does not require oxygen to function properly. I'm going to say that again. The ATP energy source does not require oxygen to function properly. Now, some other examples of ATP, using the ATP energy source would be swinging a golf club, doing box jumps, or any type of quick, fast movements in the gym, or even swinging a tennis racket. Like those things right there are just examples of using the ATP energy source. Now, the second part that I mentioned is going to be your ATP PCR. Now, again, this is still a part of ATP, but it's just the extension of it. The PCR part of it stands for creatine phosphate. Again, not something that I expect you to remember for a quiz, but it would be helpful just to understand what the PCR part stands for, and it may show up as a bonus question on your quiz. Now, this actually kicks in at about the 6 second mark of a movement. So let's say you're doing something like one push up would be activating your ATP energy source. But if you decided to do push ups for 15 to 20 seconds, well, eventually that's going to trickle into the ATP PCR energy source. So, really, how you want to think of that creatine phosphate or that PCR part of ATP is essentially just the reserve tank for your quick burst energy source. That's the simplest way that you can kind of break that down. So, as a whole, it is all ATP. And the main point that I wanted to bring up to you that I mentioned before is actually that you cannot increase the length of ATP. Now, ATP is going to last you from 0 to about 15 to 20 seconds. You can't increase it past that 20-second mark. Once you hit that 20-second threshold, you start going into another energy source, which we'll start talking about next week. But from 0 to about 20 seconds, that is everything that you're doing is going to be ATP or ATP PCR. Now, even though you cannot increase the length of time, you can increase your efficiency through ATP, meaning you can increase how strong you are during that 20-second period. Now, the way that you're going to do that is through interval training. And interval training, quite simply, is just repeating the same action over and over and over again to increase strength and durability during that time frame. So if you wanted to increase if you were running 50-meter sprints, if you wanted to increase how fast and how strong you were through those 50-meter sprints, you would constantly do them over and over and over again to build up a tolerance to be able to deal with running the distance one, but then being more comfortable running the distance and being able to hold your top form throughout the entire 50 meters more comfortably. But that's just a quick breakdown of what ATP is. We will have a quiz on this material. So again, it's not going to be a truly extensive quiz, but we will have a quiz on this material on Monday. But just wanted to give you a quick, brief overview of what we went over the other day in class. Again, there you have ATP, and then you have your ATP PCR.